Design shouldn't be trademarked at all. Major corporate companies like Nike can hire a team of designers to shoot out many designs possible and trademark them all, which is what I call a creative monopoly. So, first of all, it isn't even that. It's very hard to trademark clothing. Very few people, even massive corporations, can trademark designs. The only things you can trademark are signifiers of a brand. So things like the fact that Gucci has a very distinctive grosgrain, or I don't know, Adidas three stripes, a Nike tick, like logos are trademarked or things like that. But you can't trademark an A-line dress, or like you can't trademark a silhouette. Like if someone does an exact copy of an old Lee McQueen design, they can't sue because you can't really trademark the shape of a dress. So in that sense, I don't really think there is that much of a creative monopoly, really, because it's so hard to trademark things, really. You can really only trademark like logos and stuff and very specific things. Like you can, Alyssa says you can trademark patterns, but you can trademark patterns, but first of all, it's very complicated to trademark patterns, and then again, it most times it doesn't hold up in court. So I've seen many cases personally where people trademark patterns, but then they can just argue that even though they copy the pattern, they can just argue, but we added like certain panels, and then that's enough to. I think legally, what? Let me Google what the percentage is legally. There's a certain percentage that if you change the garment by a certain percentage, then it's okay. Like it can run in court. That's why. This is actually why. Let me tell you guys about a court case that happened recently. So this is a good example, right? So this settlement between Bape and Nike, right? So for years, and bear in mind, most companies are not the size of Nike. Nike have been fighting Bape for years and years and years and years and years and years and years because they trademarked the pattern of things like Air Force Ones and like highs and lows, like dunks, like stuff like that, right? They have trademarks for all these things. You can literally see the trademarks on the left, like Nike's trademarked designs. And obviously, Bape just literally copied the designs one of one and just changed the logo, right? And Nike have been fighting because Nike at first wanted to like work with Bape, and Bape were like, no. So Nike were like, well, you don't want to work with us? We are going to sue you. And for years, they've been trying to stop the production of Bapesters. And finally, after a legal battle that was so long, I think let me see when they won it. It was so recent. They won this case in April in 2024. And this court case, let me see if they actually talk about how long this lawsuit has been going on. Since the early 2000s. There we go. So this has been going on since the early 2000s, and they only just finally won in 2024. Literally. And that's again, this is a company with the resources and the lawyers of Nike. So you can trademark as a designer, you can trademark your patterns all you want. If you don't have the money for a legal battle for 24 years and the resources of the size of Nike, it literally your trademark of your pattern literally means fuck all. Literally. It literally doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Because in the court of law, it's not as easy as it seems. Like even though yes, a trademark is a protection, but when you start looking at the court cases, even the biggest companies like Nike have to fight Bape for years and years and years to get this stuff like, to get it ceased and desisted, right? And to make sure that they can't continue to produce these things, or they have to change the design more to keep producing these things. So when you actually look at the reality of these situations, and I'm not telling you guys to steal designs. I'm not telling you, yeah, what Nigo is smart because Nigo sold the brand. So Nigo sold the brand when these like lawsuits started to happen. So Nigo sold it and sold it with the problem. So he set off into the sunset with loads of money and just left the brand to just deal with the lawsuit. Like Nigo is smart. Exactly. Like this is another good example, right? Because this is what I mean about the trademarks. When you actually look at the court cases in reality, they don't actually run like Adidas. For you guys that don't know, and I'll bring it on the screen, but I covered this in the past. Adidas sued, I think it was Tom Brown, because obviously Tom Brown has their stripes, and Adidas were trying to say that it's kind of like infringing their trademark, but obviously like it didn't work. But that's kind of, so when you look at reality, you might have a trademark that says a certain thing, but like yeah, it's the stripes because Tom Brown has like the four stripes on the socks and stuff like that, right? So that was what Adidas was saying. They're infringing our copyright. Um, but obviously they didn't win. It was just a waste of time. But that's kind of what happened. So trademarks don't really stand for anything. So even if a big company trademarks anything, to be very honest, if I'm being really honest with you, not that I'm saying you should like do it, but it won't really stand for much in an actual court of law. It won't. Unless you're fighting Nike, and even if you're fighting Nike, Nike won't just be able to like bully unless you allow yourself to get bullied. They would still have to fight it legally for so many years that like it's not worth it for anyone, to be honest. Yeah, they did sue over stripes. So going back to the hot take, I say all of this to say that I don't necessarily think that people have a creative monopoly on designs yet. I don't think we're at that point in fashion yet because I think unless it's a logo, that's the only way that a brand would easily win in court. If we're talking about patterns and stuff, you just need to switch it 3% and then that's going to be a lawsuit for 15 years, literally. So, yeah, I don't think. Luke says, I also don't think it's ethically right either. Designers have been copying slash reproducing designs for decades. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I don't think we're at that point in fashion yet where certain big brands completely have like a creative monopoly on things. Like no one has a creative monopoly. Like if you make your own tabby boots, no one is suing you because like let me give you a good example. Like Fashion Nova tabbies are very different to the Walmart Birkins because when Fashion Nova makes tabbies, Margiela doesn't own the design of tabbies. They're an original design of that come from Japan. It's the same thing as like Margiela can't trademark their replica sneakers because they are replicas of German army sneakers, right? German army trainers. So you can't really like if I want to make fake Gats, I can make them and no one's gonna do anything about it and no one can do anything about it. Same thing with the tabbies. The reason why, the Birkin bags are a bit different is because you can say that that specific design is more akin to something that Hermes is very well known for, and that forms the basis of the company. But even then, it wouldn't be that easy for them to win. They would still have to fight it for a while. They would actually still have to fight it. Tabbies are Japanese. Japan should sue Margiela. Facts though. Yeah, Fashion Nova does have tabbies, by the way. Here they are. The Fashion Nova tabbies, guys. They're on sale. So they were £20. Now they're on sale for £14. Wowzers. That's crazy to be fair. That's actually crazy work. That's actually crazy work. Let's see some of these product images. Yeah, these are the Fashion Nova tabbies, guys. Literally, the reason why Walmart had to pull their stuff is because they don't have to, but they were just scared of the lawsuit. But with Fashion Nova, they literally don't have to ever pull these off their website because Margiela can't do anything about that. Like, Margiela literally cannot do anything about it because they don't own the rights to tabby designs unless, they're just going to take hold of Japanese designs literally. Like, that would be insane. They'd be like, we are now trademarking something that we didn't even originate. You could park a bus in that gap. That's crazy. That's crazy. Indie brands are doing everything people are claiming to want while being wholly ignored. Real luxury is not happening at the top anymore and probably never will again outside of fine jewelry. So this, I just completely agree with it, but I don't think it's a hot take though. I think that's facts. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people that complain about quality, and I say this all the time, if quality is your main concern, there are other alternatives. So unless you're going to these indie brands or these actual artisans or whatever, I think most of us at this point know that true luxury is not happening at the top. And I don't want to have the conversation around what is luxury, because I know these days, I feel like Bernard Arnault's marketing PR team has found a way to change the meaning of luxury where people actually argue about what luxury means. Where they're like, but luxury is like a feeling and it doesn't necessarily have to be about quality. Sometimes it's this. It's like, no. Luxury has to start with quality. Luxury has to start with how it's made, how it's crafted. That's where it has to start from. Everything else is secondary to me. You cannot tell me something is luxury and it's made horribly. Yeah, luxury is a vibe. Yeah, exactly. This is what Bernard Arnault says himself. He'd be like, luxury is about about creating a dream. No, 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 no. I don't agree with that. So yeah, I don't think that. I think that's a very lukewarm take, but I agree with what was said totally. Let's see. This hot take is elitism in different ways contributes well to fashion, but obviously also not be good either. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before, where like there are certain instances where gatekeeping and elitism can actually be beneficial, which kind of sounds strange because elitism is like, oh, it's a bit, even me saying it, it's a bit of a dirty word, elitism. However, genuinely, there are some certain aspects where maybe you should gatekeep or be slightly elitist in a less problematic way. Like, I guess that would mean like, because like a lot of people that create clothing that serves no benefit in society, so they're kind of just wasting resources in the world. That's a situation where there are ways that elitism can stop those kind of people from making clothes that no one's going to wear. Um, so like, there are definitely instances where like it can contribute well to fashion. I think also, you know, yeah, like gatekeeping to encourage personal discovery, like stuff like that. There are definitely ways where it's positive, but not in the toxic ways that I guess people would think about first. Definitely not in those ways. So yeah, I agree with that take. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.